Claire was a girl who had enough of her parents telling her how to live her own life. She was determined to save up a good amount of money and move to California. Her parents were ridiculously controlling, monitoring every minute of her day, every friend she made, every place she went. She felt like she was suffocating. Every night, Claire would lie on her bed, staring up at the peeling ceiling of her room, imagining what her life could be like far from there. She dreamed of California's sunshine and the freedom to make her own decisions. She spent months working as a babysitter, always favoring wealthier families since she could charge more. The start of summer break gave her extra time to work more shifts. Every single cent went straight into a shoebox, carefully hidden beneath a loose floorboard under her bed. Sometimes, late at night, she'd count the bills, feeling their weight between her fingers, calculating how much longer it would take to finally get out. The houses she worked in were always massive, with rooms that felt endless. Mansions with spiral staircases, long shadowy hallways, and empty rooms that echoed with the tiniest sound. One weekend, feeling burnt out, Claire decided to take a break and hit a local amusement park that had just brought in new rides. The sky was gray, with heavy clouds that looked like they could burst at any moment. The wind was cold and sharp, making the tent covers crack like whips. Even so, the park was packed. Families and groups of teens wandered around, their faces glowing from the flickering lights of the rides. While walking between attractions with her friends, Claire saw a clown standing among the trees that surrounded the park, far from the rides and away from the crowd. He was staring right at her, expressionless, despite the bright makeup plastered on his face. The clown wore a classic outfit, bursting with color, which made his ghostly pale skin stand out even more. His eyes were dull, lifeless like black holes on a porcelain mask. Freaked out and confused, she nudged one of her friends and asked, "Do you see that?" "See what?" Her friend replied, glancing in the direction Claire was pointing, only to find nothing there. A chill ran down Claire's spine. She blinked several times, rubbed her eyes, but the clown was still there, frozen in place, those dead eyes locked on hers. Claire tried to convince herself she was just exhausted from working too much. But as she got into the car with her friend's mom to head home, she saw the clown again, closer this time. And just like before, no one else seemed to notice him but her. That night, Claire couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, that clownish face would flash in her mind, the painted-on smile that felt like it was mocking her. The usual creaks and groans of the house now sounded like alarms, the ticking clock in the living room, the old wooden floorboards, the wind slipping through cracks in the window panes. Everything felt louder, closer. Weeks went by. School had started again, and Claire couldn't work as many hours. She tried to make up for it by staying late when she could, but the nightmares kept coming. Every night, the clown. And now, she was seeing him during the day too. Sometimes it was just a flash of color in the corner of her eye, a streak of red or blue that vanished the moment she turned her head. Other times, it was more obvious, a clown doll sitting in a kid's room that she was sure hadn't been there before. A circus poster plastered on a telephone pole that felt like it had been placed just for her. Her paranoia started getting noticed. Friends at school whispered she was losing it. Her parents, of course, blamed the girls she hung out with. "You've changed, Claire," her mom would say with that same judgmental tone Claire had heard her whole life. "You look pale, you barely eat, and you keep zoning out. What's going on with you?" But how could she explain she was being followed by a clown no one else could see? With no one to talk to, Claire buried herself even deeper in her plan. The shoebox under her bed was slowly filling up, but not fast enough. She needed more work, more hours, more chances. Then, one morning, as she was getting ready for school, she spotted a post on social media. A wealthy family was looking for a babysitter for that same night. The pay was great. Without thinking twice, Claire called the number and locked in the gig. That night, despite the storm, Claire arrived at the house right at 9 p.m. She was soaked by the time she got to the front door, rain pouring in sheets around her. The house was huge and old Victorian place that looked like it belonged in a different era. She rang the doorbell, the chime echoing through the halls inside. The door opened to reveal a well-dressed couple, clearly on their way to a formal dinner. They gave Claire all the usual instructions, quick and polite. "The girls are already asleep," the mother said with a strange smile. "Shouldn't be any trouble. If they wake up, just sing to them. They love lullabies." Once they left, the silence in the house wrapped around Claire like a blanket of static. The only sound was the ticking of an antique clock in the living room. She tried turning on the TV, but all she got was white noise. The radio was dead too. After a while, she heard crying from upstairs. The kids. Claire climbed the stairs to check on them. The hallway upstairs was dim, lit only by a single flickering light. She found both girls crying and clearly terrified, huddled together on one bed. "What's wrong?" Claire asked, trying to keep her voice steady, even though she could feel fear creeping in. "I don't like clowns," one of them whispered, pointing toward the corner of the room. Claire turned and froze. There, sitting in a chair in the shadows, was a clown doll. But it wasn't just any toy, it was the size of an adult. And it wore the exact same costume as the clown she had seen at the amusement park. She couldn't believe her eyes. Why would any parent put something like that in their kid's bedroom? Still keeping an eye on the figure, Claire sat down beside the girls and softly sang lullabies until they fell back asleep. She didn't dare look away from the clown. Something about it felt wrong. Once they were finally asleep, Claire stood up slowly. For a second, she thought she saw the clown blink, but she told herself it was just her imagination playing tricks again. Back downstairs, she tried the TV one more time. This time, the static had been replaced with an old black and white show, but the volume was so low, she couldn't make out the words. No matter what channel she turned to, it was the same show. Same eerie silence. Outside, the storm had grown worse. Thunder shook the windows, and lightning lit up the room like a strobe light. Then came a loud bang, followed by the sound of the girls crying again. Claire jumped from the couch, her heart pounding like it was about to rip through her chest. For a second, she froze, but the cries from upstairs jolted her into action. She ran back up to find the girls crying, just like before. "You have to go back to sleep. Are you still scared of the clown?" Claire asked, trying to soothe them. "He popped a balloon to scare us," one of them said. Claire looked toward the clown again. She was almost sure it was sitting in a slightly different position than before. Her stomach turned. She told the girls she was going to call their parents to come home. Leaving them in bed, she went downstairs and grabbed the wall-mounted phone, but the storm had knocked out the line. Frustrated, she reached for her cell phone in her bag and dialed the number the parents had left. The mother picked up, though the call was filled with static. Claire pressed the phone tight against her ear. "Hi, it's Claire. I'm calling because the girls are really scared. I just wanted to know if I could maybe move or cover that giant clown doll in their room." There was silence. A long pause. Claire thought the call had dropped until the woman finally responded. "What? We don't have any clown doll in the house." Claire froze. Her whole body locked up at once. That was the moment it hit her. She couldn't hear the girls crying anymore. Without thinking, she bolted up the stairs. The hallway suddenly felt longer, darker. The lights overhead flickered. And there, at the very end, standing in the doorway to the girls' room, was him, the clown. He smiled at her, but not a normal smile. His mouth stretched unnaturally wide, splitting his face from ear to ear. Inside were rows of needle-sharp teeth, glistening like wet glass. Claire wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Her throat was locked tight. She tried to run, but her legs felt like they were bolted to the floor. The clown raised one hand, holding a red balloon. With the other, he beckoned her, a slow, taunting gesture, like a magician inviting someone onto the stage. On the other end of the phone, the only thing the mother heard was a scream, then the sound of the phone hitting the floor. Panicked, the couple jumped into their car and sped home through the storm. When they arrived, the house was pitch black. No lights, no sounds, just the hum of rain against the roof and a deep, suffocating silence. They turned on their phone flashlights and began shouting for Claire and the girls, running up to the bedroom. Nothing. They searched every room. No trace of them. The girls' beds were a mess, as if someone had left in a hurry, but the room was empty. They rushed back downstairs, and that's when they saw it. In the dining room, seated at the table, were Claire and the two girls, dead. Their faces were painted like clowns, each with a helium balloon tied to their arm. Their eyes were wide open, staring blankly upward, as if frozen in time. The parents followed their gaze, and that's when they saw it. Written on the ceiling in what looked like blood were the words, "The show must go on." Who was that clown? And why did he kill those girls? No one really knows the truth. The only thing people agree on is that wherever that amusement park shows up, the clown shows up too. And the population of the town always seems to shrink afterward. The authorities were never able to explain what happened in that house. No signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, no struggle. 3 people murdered with zero evidence left behind. The case was eventually closed, marked unsolved. Just another mystery shoved into the cold files. But some say the clown is still out there, hidden behind makeup and smiles, waiting for the next town, the next child, the next babysitter who stays just a little too late. Thanks for watching, and if you made it this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the next horror story. See you in the next one.